Hello, everybody. Welcome to, Campfire Chronicles. I'm going to guess 23.
Campfire Chronicles.
Whatever the number of the title.
2077.
Yeah, it's the... If you're watching this on YouTube, which no one who we're seeing live...
It's actually 23.
Is it actually?
Yes. I don't know. I'm going to check.
Wait, based on what?
What?
Okay, well, anyway.
I just kind of recall when we did the last one.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
We said 23, and there was actually whatever one before that was.
So, before we even start, I want to show off this little Willow Whistle I have. And it's a... I've done this before, but basically, like, to carve a Willow Whistle, you have to take the bark off. I'm just going to have the pictures on Instagram. But...
Yeah, it's 23.
The problem with these is they shrivel after, like, 2 hours. Anyway, let's...
I'm not sure what you'd use that for.
It's just a fun thing. It's something I've wanted to make a video about for a while, but...
See, even William McKean knows what Campfire Chronicles it is.
Wow, we should get our viewers to just clue us in. Okay, so there's 12 patrons watching right now. So... Okay. For everyone who's watching this on YouTube, we are doing this currently live streaming to our patrons.
Yeah, so this is going to be our first live podcast.
And for anyone who's watching it live, the quality of it will be a lot better afterwards. But the reason we're doing this is so we can take your comments and your questions while we talk about our just everything. But
yep.
Can you hand me that water?
Nope. Another cup? A new cup.
Well...
Come on, man.
I was reusing the same one for like several days. So I think what we're going to focus on today is basically the episode and like just talk about the road trip. Yeah.
Yeah, so I talked about the road trip on my live stream, but I didn't really answer questions, more so as I kind of talked a little bit about my perspective of the road trip.
I guess we could... Well, one thing I wanted to fill people in on was like the fact that Thomas and I went on a mini road trip before you guys even got out there. Mm-hmm. So like I flew out to LA on March 20th and you guys didn't get until like what, April
19th.
Wait, what?
19th, right?
No,
that's when you flew.
Yeah. You were like April 1st or something.
Are you sure?
It was either...
It was like 20 days after you got out there.
Yeah, it was either early April or... Yeah, anyway.
Sometime.
But so a lot of the side videos...
really, really bad with remembering dates. People will be like, oh, when did you take this trip? And we'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I keep telling these guys, like, we should just remember what date, like, write them down. And they're like, eh.
Well, I have it...
Well, for some reason, the first time I suggested, you guys just waved it off. We're like, nah, we don't need to worry about that. It's like people always ask us what time we're going on these trips.
No, that's true, yeah.
Anyways, that's a different story.
So anyway, some of the side videos you've seen, like the one where Thomas and I went to Point Reyes or Tahoe and snowshoed there, that was from when I was out there earlier. Mm-hmm. And then we didn't actually show this in the episode, but you flew in... So you and Robby flew in, and we stayed a night at... Did we go straight to...
No, we flew in, and then we ate at the diner.
Oh, yeah, Blackbear. Oh, right, and we stayed
Diner.
a night at a motel.
Yeah, and we stayed the night at a motel. But that wouldn't have been very interesting to start out the episode. So.
Yeah, because there was already the scene from driving from the motel to the actual trailhead.
Actually, that kind of caught me off guard when I watched it, because I was like, oh, I thought they would have put, us flying in, because I guess we did that with Yosemite. I don't remember if we did with Yellowstone.
We originally did just because... I mean, we usually show that stuff, but it just was too much stuff. And we were thinking about, we might still do this for something, but like releasing a sort of like prologue video that shows you guys flying in. Maybe we'll like release that as a Patreon video or something, but... Oh, NJ Heart to Heart said, I watched the episode again in anticipation of this live stream, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Julian says, so did you visit Yosemite with Thomas during that time before the road trip? No, actually, I think Thomas and I were considering doing that, but he actually went alone before I flew out there. I think me and him were actually going to think about doing another mini road trip before you guys even flew out, in addition to what we had done. But
how is that even possible? Like,
we actually still had about a week's time after we got back from that.
I feel like you guys would have been so exhausted for the trip.
That's mainly, yeah. Okay, so Don.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So let's start by talking about what your impressions of the road trip itself was. Like, not the episode, but just the actual experience of the road trip, specifically California, but all of it too.
Yeah, I guess these questions, or what we talk about, is going to be more focused on the first third of the trip, I guess, considering that's what was in the episode we just released. I would say right off the bat, like, the first third of the road trip really set my expectations met my expectations because everything about it was just really cool. Like, there was just always something really cool to see every day. And so we started on Alabama foothills, I guess you could say, was technically the start of the road trip portion.
Yeah.
Well, actually, after Big Sur. So Big Sur ended up being a big disappointment.
It was really cool while we were actually hiking there. Like, the rain and the weather actually made it look super cool.
It was beautiful. But as always, whenever you're camping and it's constantly raining, it always feels like a miserable experience when you're out there.
We were kind of worried that doing too many road trip episodes would make people a little, I don't know, it would turn them off or something. But so we actually wanted the Big Sur thing to be a standalone episode. But
and it's actually funny because is this supposed to be turned to this one?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was actually funny because if we had tried to stick it out in Big Sur, I feel like it would have soured a little bit at the beginning of the road trip because.
Yeah.
So going up to Big Sur and it raining all the time, and then deciding that we were going to go back and having that really enjoyable experience, eating the charcuterie and just like being in a positive mood because we didn't have to deal with that, kind of made the beginning of the road trip a lot more enjoyable, I think.
Yeah, it was kind of disappointing at first that we couldn't finish the backpacking trip, but like just when we were sitting on that shore with like the ocean out there, that was such a calming moment and like. Yeah, it really set the tone.
Okay. Well, let's take a couple questions. Seth Domback, what's up, buddy? How mad were you when you saw the betrayal of Tan Pants and Robby with the tuna and the bread? So, we kind of already anticipated it, but the first betrayal, so it was 3 betrayals, right? The first betrayal was when we climbed into Robby's tent and we realized how small and crappy it was.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, okay? That's because I feel like Robby and Thomas are like the skinniest. Like I don't know. Definitely Robby is the lankiest, right? I just feel
Robby,
like.
Well, you and Thomas are comparable.
Yeah, maybe me.
You 3 are all comparable.
I just whoever has the less, like.
I definitely have the widest set shoulders.
Yeah. And I feel like we should have arranged it in a way where we each had a normal amount of space.
The problem was I didn't want to be in Thomas's tent. No, I'm just kidding.
We've ragged on Thomas so much about the road trip.
Yeah.
Even though it's like a phenomenal road trip.
Yeah. So, let's see. You guys were so funny with your tent talk. Well, I don't know if we even portrayed it properly in the episode, but we were laughing so hard during that scene.
Yeah. That was just
couldn't stop because I guess we had nothing else to do, so we were just cracking up.
We're probably getting a little stir crazy.
It was actually it's really funny because when you watch the episode, you can see what's going on between the 2 tents. But when we were there, we had no idea exactly what was going on. We just had this imagination in our head.
Well, so there's like a scene where you see Robby and he's about to eat the sandwich. He's like, bon appetit. Yeah. But to us, we were just lying there.
We're just lying there. We just heard bon appetit.
Just out of nowhere. And we just start cracking up.
And we knew they were eating things because Robby has this very distinct laugh where his mouth is full and he goes...
We always, whenever we would play like Halo back in the day, we'd always hear him like laughing like that through the headset.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That was great. So Seth Domback says, also with your philosophy, style, and recent road trip, I'd highly recommend the book Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Actually, I think either Robby has read that or he's at least looked into it. But yeah, I've heard that book a lot, and I might look into it. Yeah. But
also for anybody who, so anybody who's might be watching this on the Patreon page, click the actual physical link to go to YouTube so that you can see the chat and participate in the chat.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was ever made clear because we started embedding the video on this page and some people didn't know how to interact with us, didn't know how to chat with us or ask questions. So
after...
Big Sur.
Yeah. Yeah,
after watching it afterwards, though, I mean, I knew as I was hiking down that the scenes and the shots were beautiful.
Yeah.
But watching it again in the video, it was crazy. It was almost exactly like Wayne in the sense that the fog actually and
oh yeah,
Algonquin, but the
Wayne
fog,
did get foggy, didn't it?
For some reason, when you got fog, like really thick fog, it makes the colors pop so much.
Yeah,
that
it's like the moisture or something. Yeah. So when you were actually hiking, did you notice that, or was it only afterwards that you really?
Well, I remember when we were hiking up, I did notice how bright the wildflowers were, like the Indian paintbrushes and the yellow ones. I forget what those were called.
Yeah, I don't remember.
They were really they were just so bright. It was weird. It looked unreal.
See, I think I definitely noticed that it was beautiful, but part of the problem was my glasses kept getting foggy and misty, and it's hard to see.
Yeah.
But that's just the reality of camping with glasses.
Someone commented on our video and recommended we used ground.
Oh yeah. I know Robbie's old tent has a ground sheet,
Here's
a footprint.
Here's my weird thought process about it, and it probably would make more sense if I actually had one and set it up. But whenever people talk about a footprint or a ground sheet for a tent, I just imagine rain dripping down the side of the tent, landing on this ground sheet, and then just kind of condensing underneath right in the bottom of the tent.
I could see that. And you'd have to have one that was underneath the tent completely. Or
underneath the tent, or completely covered by the rainfly. Yeah. But see, Robbie's rainfly, for some reason, does not cover the entire tent. Mm-hmm. It's a weird design.
Well, it's the bottom part of the tent is made of the waterproof material, but it's still so thin that the rain leaked through. So we literally had, I would say at least a centimeter, half a centimeter of water. I don't know. There was a distinct pool of water, and I had brought my down jacket in to keep it dry and put it in the corner. And it was just completely soaked through.
Yeah, things were definitely getting wet and not getting dry.
It wasn't just a little bit moist. It was completely soaked.
You have to be sure to tuck the ground sheet under the tent. Okay, so you tuck it under to the extra space. I guess that makes sense.
Jason Bourgeois says, with the variety of landscape on the trip, did you guys have some idea of how you were going to film it? Or did you utilize past experience to set up shots?
So it really felt like Yosemite, in the sense that
I could see that
Yosemite in the sense that we were always basically, the views were always on one side of the trail, and we were constantly going up.
For the whole thing though, the whole trip.
Is he talking about the trip?
Yeah the entire road trip.
I thought he was talking about Big Sur.
I
guess we just we went with the flow.
I will say there were some moments where when we were filming it felt like we were sort of just getting shots that looked good and not really knowing how we'd piece it together later.
One of the big advantages of this is that we didn't have to worry about how much distance we covered because we were driving most of the time. We didn't really have to worry about batteries or SD cards because we were stopping. So basically we had a lot more freedom to just film literally anything that looked cool. And everyone was able to, if two people were driving, the other two people were just filming constantly. So we got a lot of footage.
Two thoughts about that. One is, so you weren't here for either of these, but the Colorado hiking video with the Find Your Park one and the Kern River video, those two were sort of I feel like those gave us some experience in how to film this sort of thing, because those are not strictly backpacking. They're you're going to different locations, filming different things, and then piecing it together. But I will say one problem that I noticed is it was so hard not to film while you're driving. At least in the southwest portion.
Well, in the beginning,
yeah.
In this episode.
Yeah, before we hit Central Texas. Yeah. Because just everything was so beautiful, but
new.
Yeah, but then afterwards you're I'm gonna have to sift through all this footage, but it looks so cool and I want to film it. But
and not only that, but you end up with 10 clips of the same thing.
Yeah.
10 clips of this really long straight desert road, and it looks cool, but it's you can only show that so many times before people are this is the same thing I've seen.
Yeah.
Or tumbleweeds going by.
Yeah. Which we kept trying to capture. You'll see that in the next episode, but
I guess that was in the next one. So Don says, or NJ Heart to Heart, aka Don, says, I know you're trying to trim weight, but if you are anticipating rain, why not carry a big ultralight
that's
tarp?
Actually
string it between several trees and you can enjoy it. So I think I suggested that, actually.
For some reason, I think I had it in my head this will be an easy backpacking trip. I'm not going to bother bringing the tarp. Like, so I think part of it was because Thomas was instilling in us this idea of like, okay, when you come out to LA, don't bring anything redundant that you could just use. Because like, I didn't bring my usual rain jacket. That's why I'm wearing a yellow one, which is actually Thomas's. Because he was just like, I want to save as much room and space as possible. So I was sort of in this mindset where I'm like, well, do I need to carry a tent?
We're going to throw Thomas under the bus, but we've been on way more backpacking trips than Thomas, and I think we should just trust our instinct instead of going with what Thomas says.
Well, it's like, for the road trip, I get it. And he didn't specifically say not to bring the tarp. It's just for some reason I had it in my head that like...
I know, but I just feel like we should just go with our thoughts.
Yeah.
Bring the tarp. If you don't want it, it's just...
It would have been great, though, because we could have set it up and stood under it outside.
But on putting it on the record that I had literally talked to Andrew and said, we can use your tarp to set it up like a little roof and we can sit under it and cook food under it, and he did not bring it.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know why. It was just like a lapse of judgment. Maybe like the sunniness of LA just lulled us into some weird sense of security.
I'm going to just reiterate, if you are just joining us or anything like that, we are actively answering questions as we do this podcast. So it's not just a podcast, we're taking questions live.
So anyway, while we wait for more questions and comments, I think... So let's move on to the next part of the trip where we actually went out to Alabama Hills, Lone Pine.
Well, let's talk about the charcuterie scene.
Okay.
Because I don't know if it was clearly conveyed in the video how we ended up doing that. Like how we ended up just sitting at this place eating charcuterie. But we had gotten down to the car, and Andrew has started some weird obsession with charcuterie, and it's still going on.
Well, so the reason I had bought this stuff in the first place is because, like, I always want to make cool things when we're out backpacking, and, charcuterie, we were at this random store. It was like a weird mix between a hardware store and a grocery store. But it felt like a Home Depot with food.
Yeah.
It's really
like they've got the department stores where it's clothes and stuff and food, and then they've got like
whatever this was.
But
they had canned dolmathes, which are like the stuffed grape leaves. They had like thinly sliced meats, but it wasn't refrigerated. Like you didn't need to refrigerate it until you opened it. And then
they were cured meats. So.
Yeah. And then we always bring like a block of cheese, and that's like 3 essential parts of charcuterie. I was like, none of this needs to be refrigerated. We could just, this like not really perishable for a long while. This is perfect for making something fancy while backpacking. But obviously, as it turned out, we didn't get a chance to eat it on the actual trail. And so, yeah,
So it was kind of like our post-hike meal.
Yeah, I guess it was.
The hike was cut short.
I didn't think about that.
Because we found this little cafe thingy right by the shore. The weather had cleared up.
We bought some beers from them.
They had beers, so we bought beers and just enjoyed the weather, enjoyed the scenery, and
it was
the food.
Like this big patio with like the ocean view. It was so idyllic.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It was great.
So, yeah.
So after that, then we ended up driving all the way back to Thomas's place, right?
Yeah, which was the plan originally anyway.
Yeah.
Which actually, in a way, it also helped out because it gave us extra time on the road trip to do stuff.
That's true. Honestly, I think it's hard to say because I feel like if we had done Big Sur, it would have been great, but we would also been so tired. It's hard to judge how we would have felt.
Oh, so we stayed a night in LA at Thomas's place, and while we were there, his apartment is like this big square, and in the middle there's like a courtyard with a pool. So we were just drying everything off, on the fence around the pool.
Yeah, we literally had taken almost everything out of our packs.
Yeah.
Thrown them over the fence around the pool or set them up.
Like sleeping bags, tents, clothes, mats, like literally everything.
Jackets, everything.
And we were like tossing stuff in the dryer once it was dried enough. And yeah, I think like the landlord at one point was like, you have to make sure this is all cleaned up. And we're like, well, obviously. Like, we're not going to leave it here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like we wouldn't leave it here for fear of being stolen.
Yeah,
anything, so.
But actually, I remember we were eating like soggy snacks too.
Yeah, we started finishing up all the snacks that got soggy. So soggy gummy snacks, soggy whatever the heck you brought.
Jason Bourgeois says, Andrew's always thinking outside the box regarding food. I like that. Thank you. I'm glad someone appreciates it.
He thinks outside the box and inside the can.
Don says, I like Thomas and his butter snap pretzels. Yeah, he is
Those
obsessed
were
with
good
them.
pretzels.
Yeah. I just don't like pretzels in general. I don't know why.
It's because you're a plebeian.
I like the big chunk ones that are like covered in powder. But anyway.
Oh, the Snyder's.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you like the flavor.
Yeah.
We're gonna do another podcast entirely on snacks.
Pretzels. Yeah.
Like, actually, that'd be kind of interesting. Talk about
that's not a bad
idea.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea.
Because I think there's a lot of variety between the four of us.
You know, we should probably make sure we don't spoil too much about the episode while we're talking about our trip. Well, whatever.
I guess. Oh, we're posting. This is supposed to go up.
Yeah, because people won't have watched this. Yeah.
That's true. But I mean, we've talked about our route.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
Yeah.
It's different from watching it.
It'll get people excited, right?
Speaking of which, I forgot to do this at the beginning, but if you do want to watch the episode, this is not for anyone watching live, but go to patreon.com/adventure. I don't know which way the words will be going, but yeah, you can watch it right now, and it'll be fully released on July 9th.
Yes.
And thank you to everybody who is supporting us. It really helps us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I don't like doing those, but it's like, it does help us when we shout out the Patreon.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, anyways, what were we gonna?
So yeah, we
went
were
back
drying
to
our stuff
Thomas's
off.
place,
Yes.
yes.
Spent another night.
But they saw this was in the vlog, but I don't think it was in the episode.
Yeah.
But at some point, okay, so Thomas had actually put his tent up on his little tiny balcony to dry off, and the balcony faced inside. So it was in the courtyard, right?
Yeah.
And he set it up on there to dry, and then at some point overnight, it had blown away, and we woke up, and he couldn't find it, and then it had turned out Robby found it next to the apartment's garage, but it apparently had blown up onto the roof, over the roof, and then into the garage.
And so we woke up the next morning and we were like, what? Where is it? And I had mentioned to Thomas,
he kept saying that it must have blown into the courtyard, and then the landlord took it.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking because the landlord had mentioned something about our stuff being left out. So we were like, maybe he got miffed or something, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was just blew completely over.
Yeah, it was so crazy, and it was also a stroke of luck that we actually found it, and it was still there.
I think that night Thomas went clubbing with his roommates.
He did.
One last time.
Thomas went clubbing with his roommates, came back at 2 a.m, and then passed out in the kitchen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Oh, no, I do remember that now, actually.
Yeah, he passed out in the kitchen.
Literally, did he have a blanket or anything?
No, he just fell asleep on the floor.
I mean, it's like your last night in California. I get it. I was tempted to go out, but I was so exhausted. I was like, no, there's no way.
Yeah, there wasn't. I'm not. Okay, well, I mean, I wouldn't have gone anyways because I'm not a big clubbing guy. I mean,
especially the club they were going to, you would not have liked it at all.
I don't think I would have enjoyed any California clubs. Question for you, Andrew.
Oh, so Don is asking if I'm a member on Bushcraft USA. Actually, I am. I just I have not browsed it in a long time for some reason. I need to get back on that. Seth just said you guys just hit an anniversary, and now that Thomas is back, can you guys talk a bit about how his whole process has changed? Yeah. So I think
what?
No, I mean, I think just the fact that we're able to work with him face to face helps a lot. Helps.
Are we talking about specifically with Thomas?
I think so. We don't have to. We can.
It's hard to say because it's only been a few months since he's been back technically, and he's been gone for half a month on doing something. But we have tried to focus on being more consistent. I don't really know exactly what he's asking. Oh wait, he said, what takeaways you've gained from these adventures? Oh,
okay. Well, so I will say
he's talking about the whole YouTube journey with the channel.
Oh,
yeah. See, that's what I thought he was talking about.
Well, when I think the takeaway both from the road trip and from YouTube as a whole is just the thing that immediately comes to my mind is how cool people are because
that is a good thing.
Because whether it's you're talking about the road trip or the meetups we've done or just interacting with people in the comments, it's amazing to see how many people there are that are really cool who are willing to support something like this, and just I don't know. It's just super nice too.
Yeah, it's like there's two things that I've felt like I've concluded after so many years of doing this, is that one, I'm still not tired of camping or doing outdoorsy things. If anything, I need it.
Yeah.
And then also too, like you said, it's awesome. It's always awesome to see how this kind of stuff brings people together and makes people interact.
Yeah, I remember when we first started getting some comments where people were like, "Oh yeah, this has really inspired us to like go outside for the first time," or it's like helped me through a hard time. I was like blown away. I just did not think we could have any sort of
comments.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be something fun to watch while you're like you've got cabin fever. But so anyway, so after that night in LA, we left for Alabama Hills.
That was a very unexpected thing for me.
So this was your first time. Yeah.
Well, first of all, the experience, the meal we had in Lone Pine was an experience in and of itself, and I think we'll release a separate video of the restaurant we went to, because it wasn't just like a typical meal. We went into that restaurant and we felt like we were family, and it was just awesome. It was just an awesome way to have that day kind of wrap up. And then when we went to Lone Pine or Alabama Foothills, is it Alabama Hills or Alabama Foothills?
I think just Hills. Yeah.
Okay. I said this on my stream, but the rocks
looked
like they had melted.
It
looked like they'd put normal rocks and then they just melted over time. And it was so crazy because it was flat, but then you'd see out in the distance these round rocks kind of rising out, and then just in the distance a whole huge mountain range. And
did you remember any of this from the Whitney episode, or?
No, not really.
Oh,
the
really?
only thing I
That's
remember
good,
from
actually.
the Whitney episode was what Mount Whitney looked like as we were driving up.
Yeah, it's funny. Those hills are like so like smooth looking, and like they just look weird and like cobbled together. And there's actually, we didn't get to go there, but actually me and Thomas went there like a week and a half before you guys came out on our like little mini road trip. And we were thinking of camping there too, but decided not to. But there's an arch that you can photograph Whitney through.
Oh, really?
And you'll see that's in the episode that we haven't released yet, or the video we haven't released yet.
Wait, it is?
Yeah, there's a little side video, the Eastern Sierras one. We haven't put it out yet.
Oh, I thought that was out. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's cool. Like, what do you think of the town? That's what I want to know too. Like,
the town was cool. I feel like we didn't get to explore it as much as I wanted to, because I think we were all just a little anxious to eat and then kind of go set up camp. The day was kind of dwindling, but it definitely had that. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like felt like an old timey town. Definitely had this disconnect from modern society.
It's
that
like
was kind of in a good way, you know.
It's like that feeling you could imagine, like a duel happening, like an Old West, like It really is like a very rustic kind of, like it feels half touristy town, half just like a genuine Old West kind of town. Yeah. It's really cool, but it's funny because those hills, when you look at it from where we were, it looks like half of the horizon is the hills and then half of it is like the mountains, or like a third, and then a third is the sky.
Yeah.
But once you're on the mountain, those hills are so small.
What it feels like for me is like someone saw these mountains and was like, I just want to see these mountains every day, and so he's just founded a town right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. But
all right, William McKean says, I will say that your guys' channel has definitely compounded my interest in the outdoors since I discovered it 2 years ago. That's awesome. And whenever people comment about that kind of stuff on our channel, I always say that it's the thing that I love hearing most. That either we inspired people to go on their first trip, or we were able to provide them with the feeling of being out there during like a time of need if they were like injured or something, or like this where we just make people's interest grow, where people who may have explored a little bit outdoors are suddenly spurred to well, pardon the pun, be more adventurous with that.
Yeah.
NJ Heart, Brian, you said on your way up there, why didn't you hike it?
Whitney.
Yeah. Oh, well, first of all, there's a conflict in scheduling, And secondly, the idea of hiking up a mountain just really didn't appeal to me at that time.
I actually, in hindsight, I feel like it would.
I
we would have
know
with
I
most
could
of
have,
it. Yeah.
but it just, for some reason, I just didn't feel it in me.
Yeah. No, I was really worried about it, but the preparation versus like Kumatori.
Well, and another
made it a
thing
lot
was
easier.
because when Thomas told us the timetable that he wanted to do it in,
Yeah.
was the original timetable, which was getting up at like 2 a.m. And then I was like, nope, I'm out. Like if you're gonna if we're gonna try and rush this whole thing, then I'm not gonna do that because I know I won't enjoy it.
Whitney's always going to be there. Like,
yeah.
I actually don't think it was necessary to wake up that early. Like,
I don't.
Because his whole thing was like the snow was going to turn slushy and that'd be hard to walk on. I almost thought it made it easier to walk on.
Also, when they got back and they told me about the wag bags, I was like,
So while we talk about the next part of the trip, I'm actually curious to hear some of the people who are watching live. What are your thoughts about the episodes? Like, what's something you took away from the episode after you've watched it? Mm-hmm. And also, if you've got any questions about the episode, like things that maybe we didn't show on camera or things you would like to have expanded, let us know any questions or comments about the episode specifically, and we can address that. But in the meantime, so yeah, after Alabama Hills, after eating the Chinese food,
we stayed the night at the Alabama Hills.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great way to start the trip, in a sense.
The stars were awesome.
Okay, let me ask you this before we continue talking. What do you consider the start of the road trip?
That's a good question.
For me, I feel like it was the Alabama Hills.
I think just leaving LA is what I considered the start. Big Sur feels like a little prologue to it or something, you know.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so Alabama Hills was beautiful.
Wait, so you consider like actually being there as the start? Like that's when it really.
The night that we spent there, and the following day was like the road trip's happening. Like we're.
That's when it really hit.
Because it was like that. Now we're on our way out of California, you know.
Yeah.
I don't really know how much what else I can say about the Alabama foothills or Alabama Hills, because there's really only so many words you can say to describe how amazing it was.
It's like at some point you have to kind of experience it, you know. Like,
because there was literally nothing hindering your view of the sky.
Yeah.
The big thing. I don't think we've ever been anywhere that really had as much sky exposed.
The other cool thing is like you can climb up on a boulder or something and just look around you, and it's all just more of these hills and like mountains and just for miles and miles.
Yeah.
But yeah, that night sky, that was a really good start to the trip too. Is just seeing all the stars out.
Yeah.
And
plus the weather was like perfect.
Yeah.
Thomas slept on a little cot outside, which was kind of funny.
Did you and Robby both sleep in a tent or? No.
Yes.
Okay. Because I put my tarp out on the ground and I just slept on top of that.
Me and Robby slept in his tent.
Okay. Yeah, that was fun. That was a great night. I will say regarding the episode, I wish we had gotten a better shot of us all sitting around talking. Like, I don't know why. I remember
we didn't get a fire started.
No, but I remember Robby specifically setting the camera up. He's like, "That's probably gonna look really bad." And I was thinking in my head, why don't you set it up again? But I was like, I don't want to.
Speaking of which, do you want to defend why you couldn't get a fire started now?
I'm not. I still say that the wood was damp, and like I don't know why it was damp, but it was damp. And because I feel like we got a good flame going and it just wouldn't catch.
I didn't really pay attention to you starting the fire.
Yeah, because there were, if I remember correctly, there were moments where it actually ignited, and we were able to catch the like feather sticks, and a flame would develop, but then it would just like go out.
I feel like the real test would have been if we had actually used like a piece of fat wood or some paper to see if it actually caught and then stayed burning.
Once we got the fat wood, which I think was in Zion, that really helped. But
at this point, at the point where Andrew actually finally gave up and actually let us contribute, it was way too late for a fire.
Yeah. It's just like whatever.
All right, so NJ Heart to Heart says, I appreciate that. One of the things I love about your channel is that your hikes are not usually heroic. Yeah, I don't. Like, people can hike, hike and camp however the way they want. But for us, I believe our mindset is that as long as you're out there and you're enjoying it, it doesn't matter where you go, and how far you go and how fast you do it. It's just get out there, right?
My whole thing has always been like, I'd rather really deeply explore a few miles of a place than like. Well, okay, so like when you're hiking a lot of miles, you still kind of experience it in an intimate way. But like, I'd rather go to a national park and backpack a few miles of it than like drive all over to all the key sites. Like, it's worth doing that. It's worth doing that, and obviously that's like what a lot of the road trip is. But
and I can see how like long distance hikers enjoy the thing they do.
Oh yeah,
because it's like you also get this kind of endorphin rush, and then when you're so exhausted at the end of the day, it's so great to set up camp.
Yeah, like in the
but we're always exhausted anyways because we may only hike 3 miles, but we're standing.
It really is like
for 8 hours.
Probably twice that amount too when we're going back and forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's like different styles of hiking have different appeals. So like long distance hiking, it's like it is kind of fun to add up the miles, but yeah.
So Dawn says your trips are a great weekend, 1 or 2 nights.
Yeah.
It feels so accessible to me, and that's what inspires me to get out and do an overnight. That's awesome.
Esther says, I really appreciated you talking about the Chinese railroad workers and the Chinese Exclusion Act. I'm glad you appreciated that. You know, it's like, I don't like to be too heavy-handed about stuff like that a lot of times, but I also think that, you know, that's...
There's a good quote that comes to mind. It's like, I don't know if this is exactly how the quote goes, but it's something about, like, learn the history lest you be doomed to repeat it or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it's always important. Like, okay, history was my worst subject in school, and I did not like studying it. But it is very important that humans as a whole understand the history of the humankind and everything that happened, because that's how you learn. Like, I mean, that's how you learn.
That is
right?
literally, yeah.
And it's just like our hikes. We don't just forget everything we did on a previous hike. We take our mistakes.
We make grave mistakes and learn from them.
Yeah, we take them to heart and we learn from them. And that's how humankind needs to view just everything.
I think my other thing is I think it also just adds to your appreciation of a place when you learn the history. So like, to me, it's like, well, I don't know, because I don't think if you go to a forest and you don't know the plants, you appreciate it less. But I do think that if you know the plants, it helps you appreciate it in a different way. I think there's like a richness to that, and the same goes to history. And like,
it's kind of like when I talked about how we all appreciate nature in different ways.
Yeah.
Different ways. Like you can enjoy identifying plants, or like you could go someplace and really appreciate the history or culture that surrounds a place.
And the U.S. has like such a deep history connected to nature, like Native American history, like immigration history, just all of it, like the Appalachian like mountain men.
Like I mean, and certain things that people may not even think of, like the Oregon Trail and the Gold Rush.
Yeah.
Like even that is a very interesting chapter in America's history.
And I think it makes it more interesting to when you're in that landscape.
So. I mean, if you think about it, in order to be able to go to California and appreciate all that stuff, we have to recall the Oregon Trail, right? Because that was essentially settlers traveling
just all of
this
that
trek across the United States to get to this other side of the country. And I mean, in their time, it was no small feat. All right, let's keep going. We got to get caught up here.
So William McKean says, how much would you say the rain impacted your enjoyment of the time in Big Sur? So I'd say while we were hiking, it wasn't that much of an impact because it was beautiful in its own way. But
the only time it really, for me, the only time it really impacted my enjoyment was when I realized that we probably wouldn't be able to do the hike.
Yeah.
Other than that, it wasn't too bad because we were in the raincoats, and then in the tents. At least we were in the tents.
I think like there was a point in the tents where it was kind of getting like cabin fever, but I would agree. Like
it was just that realization of the fact that it was going to cut our.
And I think if we weren't filming, we still could have finished, because like at one point I was just like, I'm soggy, but like I can deal with it at this point, and especially if it becomes sunny later, it'll be.
It's just play it by ear and just see how everyone feels.
Seth, thank you. Seth says, Esther, I love that too. I appreciate when they bring culture into the episodes. It feels very special, and that connection to humanity and nature. Thank you very much for that comment.
And I actually think it'll play a big part too when we start going abroad more.
Yeah.
Because if we're like in some European country, I feel, since most of our viewers are probably American and Canadian, that they'll be able to learn something new.
I mean, just look at the Japan episode,
learn,
you know?
Yeah, we'll learn new stuff too. So
it's so cool to see different. Julian says, seeing the Phantom in your trunk, I kind of expect more drone shots. Is that just too time consuming? I think I think there's two parts. One,
Well, yeah. So obviously we couldn't use it at Big Sur.
Yeah.
And then
most of the cool places we can't use it at because they're like parks and stuff. But
too time consuming. Like it takes at least 5 minutes.
You got to like pull over.
You got to pull over and you got to get it all set up, and then it's got to warm up, and then you got to fly, and then by the time you fly it and you're done flying, you pretty much have used up all the juice.
Yeah, that's actually another thing.
Yeah.
It's like it only gets like 25 minutes of fly time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it was just difficult to say at what point in the road, at one point in this time that you're driving, you're saying this is where we need to get drone shots, because you don't know if there's going to be something great, even cooler up ahead.
So I will say about the whole drone scene is I was also taking shots with the telephoto lens. You might have noticed those in the episode. But it's like we were kind of killing two birds with one stone because we're in this desert road which barely gets any traffic. Yeah. So I just set the tripod up in the middle of the road and like shot down. And it was really cool.
Also later in the trip, we were kind of on a bit of a tighter time schedule. I
Yeah. I think when we were just starting off, it was a little more relaxed. But Jason said I should have used the Force to start that fire. Yeah, I'm not in tune with the Force.
Side note, I think you and Robbie's reenactment of that scene was inaccurate. When I saw, let me put it this way.
No
when
one's
I saw
debating
you
that.
guys do it, I did not know what was going on.
Yeah,
because I was like, I don't know.
It was just
I'm just poking at you guys.
It was just us being stupid and wasting time. Okay, so yeah, again, if you guys have any questions or comments about the episode, we'd love to hear them. And just like also just tell us overall what you thought of the episode, because it is a very different format. It's not the usual backpacking episode, and I'm curious how people are taking that and like how they think of it. So anyway, we woke up the next morning, Alabama Hills,
and at that point we were making the drive through Death Valley, right?
Yeah. So that morning was really pretty. Well, it was. I
mean, actually, I think I got up pretty late in the morning.
Okay. I know Thomas and Robby were the first up for sure.
Shock! I was the last one up. But yeah, the morning was great. It was like really relaxing. And then Death Valley. So I've only seen Death Valley like in pictures and videos, and I didn't really know exactly what to expect. Except
yeah.
What would you say was your most favorite part about the Death Valley drive? I would say mine was when we went into the air-conditioned building.
I think Badwater Basin was the coolest part.
Really?
And not just because it's like the lowest point, but also it just looked really different. I've seen places like that in pictures, but never actually seen it in real life. And that was pretty cool.
I think I think it was the Devil's Golf Course, right?
Oh, with the jagged, yeah.
I think that was really cool because, everybody knows what Badwater Basin looks like.
That's true, yeah.
So I think because of that, it was a little less impactful on me. But when I saw the Devil's Golf Course, that was like we said it in the video and we commented on it when we were there. It was like you were looking at this alien world. It was like if you couldn't see the other humans out there and you couldn't see the street and if you just like looked at the terrain of the ground, it looked like some weird alien landscape.
Especially when you look up close, like it's all jagged. It's like just nothing you've ever seen.
Combined with like the salt forming on it, just made it look out of this world.
Yeah, when we were there, it was just like the heat was getting at us so much. We were so exhausted.
Yeah, you guys. Well, we didn't show it in the episode. So, at Badwater Basin, I sprayed water all over myself, and everybody else kind of put some water on themselves. But that water that I sprayed on myself in that scene was dry by the time we had walked back to the car.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's nuts. Seth Domback says, I loved the episode. I can't wait to see the other ones. It feels both organic to the channel and fresh at the same time. Really lets your personality shine. That's it's very encouraging to hear that because there was a big part of me worrying that it would be really jarring and different. But actually, I felt like when I was watching it, it actually felt a lot more like an episode than I thought it would.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because we've sort of done like smaller mini episodes similar to that, or maybe it's just like...
I don't know. It just seemed to flow really well.
Yeah. Flowed a lot better than I thought it would.
I said in my stream on Monday that I gave huge props to you guys because I hadn't seen anything about the video until you guys actually released it. But when I watched it, man, I could not stop watching it. I was like, this is so good.
Yeah. I was surprised because I was worried it was just going to be like lots of driving shots, lots of talking shots. But yeah, I don't know.
William McKean says, I felt like you guys did a particularly good job with the intro on this episode.
Awesome.
The music and the narration and the visuals made it look really professional, in my opinion.
Cool. Robbie actually did the intro.
What was the intro again?
It was just like, it starts out with a
shows
drone
a
shot and then,
Oh, yeah. That's the thing, is like, I don't know if it's just, I don't know how else to say this, but the way it was put together really fit the style of the video. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like, it's kind of this like grungy. To me, it's like this. I don't know. There's like this
I don't know
like.
how to describe it.
It's like that bad to the bone kind of. Like.
Yeah, I don't know. It worked.
It's just like that classic American road trip sort of feel,
like,
you know. Like,
good job. No.
So actually, someone had commented that like the music was kind of a different style. I think that's definitely true. Like in the second half of the video.
Also, because I think Thomas made one of the songs.
So this was Thomas's first song.
Yeah, so it injected this new style. And,
yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see if he makes more music, if he starts developing his own style. So we'll have the 4 different recognizable styles.
But his was the electric guitar one. So he started off making it and then got stuck at some point. I helped out a bit. Then he tweaked it. And then Nathan doing the drums really helped too.
I wanted to record the electric guitar parts, but I was just too busy, too tired.
Yeah, and also it's just like... that episode was taking so long. I
hadn't heard the song until it was practically finished. If I had heard it earlier, we would have had more time to actually record it. And I think it would have turned out pretty cool, but it was good enough anyways.
And then the last song was a very different style too. It's kind of this like upbeat, peppy kind of song. And
actually, I'm already brainstorming a song.
Yeah.
So I had 2 ideas. You guys are getting some behind the scenes look into the thought process.
And this is for the next episode.
Yeah. So I'm thinking it'd be cool in the next episode. The teaser will be like a previously, right?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because then it would make it feel really joined together, like a TV show. And then I had 2 ideas for the song after the intro. It could either be the same one that we used to really drive home that connection between the 2 things, or I had this other song I had that was thematically the same, same instruments, same style.
Ooh, yeah.
But just
No, totally, yeah.
And I think that'd be really cool.
And we already know we're closing out with one of your songs. We won't say too much about that. But
we are.
Remember how we ended it in To Come Carry?
I totally forget.
Oh well, I'll tell you later. I don't want to spoil too much, but. Okay, so William also said the visuals made it look really professional in my opinion. Thank you. That's awesome. I think the drone and like the telephoto lens helped with that.
Yeah.
Esther says, I liked seeing how you interacted with each other with all the frustrations and teasing. Like when Robby asked Thomas, hey, what happened to your bumper? And Thomas sped up to get away.
Yeah, this road trip definitely tested the bounds of our friendship. Because we were...
Well, I don't want to make it sound like we were going to, like, at each other's throats. It really wasn't that bad.
It definitely wasn't that. But it was just like... It was like a different form of cabin fever.
Yeah.
Because I never felt like I didn't want to hang out with the guys afterwards. But by the end, it was definitely like you wanted at least some time to yourself. And just be, like, to have your own thing to do. I don't know. It was just weird. But something just popped in my head about what William McKean said about how the visuals. I know what I was trying to say earlier is that the way we filmed it and put it together, it hit every one of those cliches.
Yeah. You got the drone
like the
shot,
little side mirror shot.
It's like a car commercial.
Yeah,
it's
and then like the heat wave long.
Yeah.
And the telephoto shot. Yeah, it was like perfect cliches.
Yeah, which is like those are great.
Yeah.
It's
and that's what really makes you like, oh yeah, this is really driving it home. No pun intended.
So the whole bumper thing, Thomas wanted us to put the clip of him actually hitting the bumper in Yosemite in there. I think it would have been funny, but No, actually, I think, but part of me actually likes that there are like Easter eggs that you, that you can understand if you've been watching the other show. Yeah,
I think that makes it more significant.
Yeah, and another thing in the episode was the callback to the Whitney episode with the music. I don't know if.
Oh, you know what we missed doing?
Huh?
We should have done a scene in Death Valley where Thomas is standing out there and we walk up to him and he's like, "Oh, there you guys are."
Oh,
if you guys remember that reference, which one was it? Wayne?
Yeah, I think so. There was one. It's all of them.
Yeah, there's an episode where we made a joke about Thomas not being there, and he's like in the middle of a desert going, "Guys,
how did we not do that?"
And then he's like, "I think I'm in the wrong place." That would have been a great.
We missed a big opportunity with the next one too. It's with the candy. We never ended up filming a parody of that.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I don't know if you all noticed, but like there's some musical callbacks during the Whitney scene.
I thought I noticed that.
Yeah. So we had 2 themes in the Whitney episode, and then there's 2 songs in this one that combine those themes together. And I don't know. I think it's pretty nifty. Mm-hmm. But I wrote it, so I'm just like.
Seth Dombeck says it reminded me of Kumatori, which is top 3 of my favorite episodes. I'm curious, Seth, what your top 3 favorite episodes are now.
Yeah, I want to know.
Because the friendship and the adventure is both fully present. That is true.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. Julian Julian says that song is my favorite. I think they're talking about the Thomas's. Well, I don't know. It's either the Thomas one or the Vegas one, but Jason says the episode didn't seem out of place to me and liked how you guys edited it. I have to say one of my favorite parts of every episode is hearing Andrew's opening. They're always inspired. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. You guys should have put a in memory of scene for the Carl's Jr. you guys always pass out there.
Oh, wait, did we show the Carl's Jr.? Did we show it in this episode? One of you is going to have to tell us if we showed the Carl's Jr., because I forget if we filmed it while we passed. I want to say we did, but...
Wait, what? Was it the one we stopped at for Yosemite or something?
Yeah, because I think we passed by it again.
Oh,
and
I totally didn't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember if... That might have been in the scene after you guys fly in and we're driving up to Big Sur. That might have been where it was. Yeah.
I probably didn't catch that.
Because we removed it after.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so with the openings, I'm glad you think they're inspired, because like I always worry that it's just gonna sound like cliche nonsense, like which in this one it might have fit with the cliche car commercial shots, but
no, okay. Okay, so
yeah,
Death Valley. Anything else you want to add to that portion of the trip?
I think one thing that was kind of cool is like having gone to Badwater Basin while also having climbed Whitney. Mm-hmm. But also like I thought there was a specific point in Badwater that was the lowest point, but I guess we never really like hiked to any specific point.
See, for me, what I expected, and maybe there's another portion of Badwater that is that it's the cracked earth, but without like all the salt between it.
Oh yeah,
you know? Like
yeah.
Cracked earth, but it's actually.
We
like
saw
empty.
a little bit of that in the sand dunes. Remember, there were like some parts between the dunes. Yeah, but yeah.
So I was a little confused, but no, I don't think it's too much missed.
One other thing I think about with Death Valley is that wherever it is where those rocks slide around, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the moving rocks.
I don't know if that's in the same Badwater Basin or not, but
I think you said that was in a different area.
Yeah. So yeah, after that we went to Vegas, which I actually really liked that part of the trip. We didn't really show much of it. Like we showed some of it in the credits.
It'll be in the beginning of the next episode. Mm-hmm. How much did we film?
No, I see. That's the thing. I don't think we actually filmed a whole lot. Because while we were out, like we were worried about filming in the casinos and
right. Yeah, there was a little questionable like how much we could get away with filming. Mm-hmm. Plus, we were hanging out with Warren Fernandez, and I felt like
shout out to him.
I felt like it would have been a little disrespectful. Although I'm sure he would have been fine with it. Yeah, a little disrespectful to be like trying to film when he's hanging out with us.
He would have understood. But.
Oh yeah, of course he would have understood. But it's just like it's just.
No. But I think we might have shown all there is to show in the credits. Yeah. But that's the irony is like you think it would be easier to film in Civilization, but it's actually a lot harder because there's just like all these people around and you don't know what they expect or like what the rules are.
Yeah, that's true.
But
plus there were a lot of scantily clad like women
Which
and a lot of people, a lot of guys handing out flyers for strip clubs constantly.
there was a shot that we got that we didn't put in the episode, but it's like we're driving by and there's a billboard. It's like all these really ripped, like topless dudes. And it's like Thunder Down Under. It's like these Australian male strippers or something.
Do you remember there was like one guy who was handing out like strip club flyers, and he was very descriptive.
Oh yeah. Okay, so one thing we were saying, like, you know how when you're playing a video game, like Red Dead Redemption or any sort of game where people talk, like Witcher or Skyrim, and you're walking through a town and people, like these NPCs, the computer characters, are just like saying random things as you pass by. Like, oh, I got an arrow in my knee. That's what it felt like in Vegas, except everyone was talking about strip clubs. Like, at some point, we were just walking, and some guy was like, "Strip club, you want to go strip club?" And like, but he like made no
like
effort.
How NPCs have like this canned response when you walk.
But like, we
them.
were walking one way, he was walking the other, and he made no effort to stop us. But he still said strip club.
He just like waved it. It was a very unique experience. Okay, so Seth Domback says, and I'm going to actually add something to this, but Seth Domback says, right now his top 3 are Kumatori, Pictured Rocks, and Dolly Sides of Winter.
Those are good choices.
Yeah. And
with a nod to
Wayne. So Robby actually had a live stream where he was talking about people's favorite episodes, and then someone asked him what he thought Thomas's, yours, and my favorite episode.
Oh, yeah.
And now, at least me and Andrew can answer this question. I don't know if I told you what mine was, but...
I can't remember what... Oh, no, I know. Yeah.
Okay, well, you go first.
With mine?
Yeah.
So I think now my favorite is Pictured Rocks. I think Kumatori is definitely up there. Algonquin is definitely up there.
Mm-hmm. You have to choose your top favorite. Your most favorite.
I'd say Pictured Rocks.
And also we're talking... Okay, so let me... Okay, yeah. Sorry. We're talking specifically episode.
Yeah, not side videos.
No. I'm not saying episode, not the trip.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, so I think a lot of this has to do with... so Pictured Rocks, I think... I choose it because it's an awesome landscape. It's a really solid episode. But also because I was proud of the theme song I came up with. And like... some I don't know. It's like kind of biasing my opinion. But I think I really like it.
Okay, so... I actually thought I would have had to think about this more, but my top episode very quickly came to me, and it is Algonquin. Mm-hmm. And my reasoning is that because the Algonquin episode, firstly, you have so much variety in what happens there.
That's a great one.
The first day, beautiful, sunny skies, blue skies, clear, open blue waters, amazing. Mm-hmm. And... the perfect song. You guys did really good job on the songs that first day. Perfect songs to really give you that feeling of tranquility. There was the one after the first portage.
Dun, dun, dun. Like the really froggy sounding.
Yeah.
Oh no! Wait. Oh, the one Robby wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was. Every time I hear that, I'm like, oh, like so good.
Yeah.
But then after that, the first night.
Yeah.
The Northern Lights, oh man, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it was just like, we didn't plan it, and it was just perfect. And then the second day, we're going out there, and we have like the great like canoeing at night scenes. Mm-hmm. Or not canoeing, but like talking in the canoes at night. We had that great stew.
We even had some bushcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the morning after, the dense fog. Oh wow, it was so. Oh man, it makes me want to go back to Algonquin right now.
So the only reason that's not at the very top is because the stupid teaser that I put in. Like, I really regret having the. So the teaser was like you can't really see much because it's a dark screen.
Yeah, it was.
But it's Robby going, oh my god, because the Northern Lights. Mm-hmm. And like in hindsight, like, or at the time, it seemed like a really good idea because it's like really exciting, but you can't really tell what's happening.
Yeah.
And I really wish I had put like a more thoughtful teaser.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
Just to add to that, so besides the amount of variety you get in that episode, I think the entire episode really portrayed just how relaxing a canoe trip can be. It's so good. And every time I watch it, I want to go back to
We need to go canoeing again.
We're definitely going canoeing.
Yeah, I have been itching to go canoeing for a while. And the great thing about canoeing is like filming doesn't really interrupt the flow of it. It's like, it's great.
No, that's a great thing too. It's like you can film constantly. You don't have to stop.
Actually, we will get some canoeing in the third road trip episode.
That's true.
Right. Okay, so really quick, Jason says he's on board with Seth about those episodes. Esther says, me too, and the China episodes, except I guess those are vlogs. Yeah. Dawn says Pictured Rocks. Yep.
I can see how people would really like the Pictured Rocks episode. And the Pictured Rocks episode is fantastic. It's just that for some reason Algonquin was like so memorable.
There's a lot of variety.
Yeah.
Well, Pictured Rocks has variety too, but
yeah, Pictured Rocks was great. I planned that.
Seth says it changes time to time. It'll be hard to knock Kumatori off that. The scene when they get to the cabin, that is a
Kumatori is definitely an amazing.
That hot spring was so awesome.
And when I say these, I'm not saying it like I'm not trying to like.
Most of the credit goes to like the landscape and like the campsites and stuff.
Like I'm saying it was amazing
we just point
because
the camera.
of the experience and the trip and everything we had and how the episode really makes me remember that. Seth Dombeck retracted a message. He does not like Kumatori.
The elation of eating the meal in Dolly Sod's Winter. I haven't watched that one in a while.
That's interesting because they have this unique perspective of watching it but not having any memory associated with it.
That is really
and
interesting.
I think that really skews our thoughts on what would be a favorite episode because we have thoughts associated with that. That's definitely the case with Algonquin. So it's like they watch these scenes and it's like they point out like the eating scene in Dolly Sod's Winter. Like I could see how someone would be like, oh man, that's such a good scene, because
so we got, I think we have people who leave comments and I don't think they realize how much of a compliment they are sometimes. Because like on this latest episode, someone was like, I really felt nostalgic when you guys went back to Whitney and I've never even been there. Yeah. And like that is, I never imagined we'd actually be able to capture that sort of feeling. So to know that someone at least out there is feeling that is really awesome to us.
It feels like we're patting ourselves on the back.
No, yeah, but it's like,
but it's for me, it's more of just like it's so awesome to hear that people are experiencing
getting something from it. Yeah.
Well, that and that they're experiencing these things, they're having feelings about these scenes in the same way that we do,
because
in terms of like a euphoric or cathartic experience.
Because all the time when we're out there, I'm like, are we really capturing what this is like? Because it's, how can you capture it on camera? But I guess some of it gets through. But
all right, Pictured Rocks. Or Esther says, oh no, wait. William McKean says, go up. William McKean says Algonquin is my favorite as well, right next to Red River Gorge.
Red River was my favorite for a while because that one, it feels like an adventure. Like you go through so many different things. There's that rainy thunder scene.
Yeah, us meeting up and having the lunch.
God, yeah. And the music, I like the music in that one.
And it had the iconic ending song.
We could talk about our least favorite episodes. Then we wouldn't be patting ourselves on the back. It's like Shenandoah.
That's funny.
All of season 1.
Yeah. And whenever people like comment and say Shenandoah is a good video, I'm like, man, Shenandoah is...
It's like, I'm glad you think so.
Esther Sugaya says, Pictured Rocks blew me away because I live on the West Coast and Pictured Rocks looks like it's on the ocean. Amazing. Yeah.
Again, like all the credit goes to Pictured Rocks.
Yeah. I would totally... Like, Pictured Rocks is another place I would totally go back to. And I would highly recommend going there if you haven't. Just take note of the bugs. Like, beware of when bug season is. Seth Dombeck says, Pictured Rocks is such a beautiful place. The shot of the colored rocks in the water is so beautiful along with the shots of you hiking on the trail.
Yeah, that was exactly how I hoped. Like, I never thought the trails would actually look like that right on the edge, but that's how they were. And I was so happy about that.
And that was a big issue for us because we just constantly stopped and filmed.
Ryan Reel says his favorite is Yosemite with Algonquin as a close second. That's funny because Yosemite, it's really beautiful, but for some reason I don't like the episode. Like, I think because it's not like a full circle journey. Yeah.
I think a lot of the beginning kind of was really slow.
Yeah, and also the backpacking portion didn't feel as much like a journey as I wanted it to. Yeah.
Also, everybody give a shout out to Ryan Reel. He's a new patron.
Oh,
I know
awesome.
for a fact because I messaged him.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your support, Ryan. He sent us a really cool message on Patreon about the Adirondacks and stuff.
Oh, okay. Seth says, I also love Yellowstone. The scene of you guys watching the bear safety video made me lose it. That's awesome. Yellowstone is interesting because, like, for Yellowstone, that's kind of like a subdued landscape. But I actually really liked it too. Yeah. And the episode's pretty good too.
The episode's all right. NJ Heart to Heart says, I liked Kumatori, the Kumatori deer goat thing. Yeah, that was...
Oh, yeah.
That's another thing about the Kumatori
that was
episode
cool.
is there was a lot of surprise stuff.
Little known fact, we actually saw a monkey, but I didn't get a good enough shot of it. Yeah, so on the bus ride in, I saw a monkey. It was just sitting on a little brick wall. And Michael was like, "Oh, look, there's a monkey." And I was like, "Wait, what? Like, why weren't you freaking out about this?" But the only shot we got was like a really shaky, blurry one. Mm-hmm. I should post that to the Patreon sometime.
Yeah. Ryan Reel says, if I had to pick a favorite scene, I would pick the view of the entire Yosemite Valley from the lookout.
The tunnel view. Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
with the music, that was a really cool scene.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Julian sounds like you're going to have to make a new Yosemite episode that better depicts your vision. Oh. It's not a bad idea.
Well, I definitely see us going back to Yosemite and Yellowstone because
someday,
there's a lot. There's still a lot to show there.
It'd be cool to go like to the Upper Sierras area of Yosemite. Yeah. Maybe do like a national forest around the area or something. Mm-hmm. But anyway,
so where were we talking about?
So Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, we just talked about
Yeah.
Oh,
you actually said...
I want to say something. That ending with Vegas and us walking into the sunlight... That was so perfect because I felt like I was watching like an Ocean's 11 movie or something. And we had just pulled a big heist and we were like walking away.
Yeah. I love that. So like, I love ending stuff in that way, like where you sort of play at these like tropes in your head, but like.
Just like I said, this episode was full of cliches and it was perfect.
Yeah. I feel like we're also going to lean into the cliches for the next one because it's like we're in the Southwest, like, I don't know.
I can hear a song with the jaw harp already.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a little westerny.
Yeah. We have an actual jaw harp, like the. I need to dig it up, but. Okay, so didn't you at one point say Vegas was actually like one of your favorite parts of the road trip or something?
Did I?
Like
I might have.
Or like there was when we were just sitting around drinking.
I might have, but it was probably more of the fact that Vegas was... I don't know. I don't think I would say that now.
Okay.
It might have been when we were... When was it?
Well, I think it was when like me and Thomas went out again after like hanging out with Warren. And we were just like wandering around and then got a drink in one of the...
Yeah. So I guess... We didn't film this, so we can talk about it so people will know. So, after we went out and got food, Robby went back to the hotel because he was tired, and I believe Warren had to go back because he had to work in the morning.
Yeah.
So me, Andrew, and Thomas, we spent the next like 2 hours going around, doing a little bit of slot machines. We found like this little bar, and we had
Thomas made a.
He got like $60. He made like $60.
But what was like the net amount?
$60.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Dang.
And then we found this nice little bar and we sat there and we both all had a drink and I don't know, it was just, I wouldn't say it was the best part of the trip, but for some reason it stands out in my mind and I don't know why. I think it's just because of how the day winded down perfectly. Mm-hmm. It was just like strolling around in Las Vegas, walking through the random hotels and casinos, and then just sitting at this quiet bar and having a drink and just hanging out with you and Thomas. It was cool.
It's funny because when we were like a few days out from Vegas, I was like, how was that so long ago? Mm-hmm. Like that was pretty much that was the second night of the trip. Yeah. But it felt already like it was like in the middle of it, and I kind of enjoyed Vegas because
No, go ahead.
No, I kind of enjoyed Vegas because it's like this place where we could recuperate, like sort of stay in a hotel, recharge our batteries literally and figuratively, like clean up and stuff. But also it was fun. The buffet, I actually enjoyed the buffet a lot.
I was going to say that's true because up until that point we had slept in wet tents.
Yeah.
Slept on Thomas's floor or sofa. Slept in the tent at Alabama Hills. So Vegas was really the first place where we could get a good shower and sleep on really big comfy beds because Thomas had gotten 2 rooms, so we each had a big bed to ourselves, and I think it was just really nice to be able to sleep there, and it was kind of like recharging, like giving that first little recharge before the really long stretch of the road trip.
I got a bloody nose while I was showering, and I remember I stepped out, I was like, If you see blood on the floor, don't freak out. Nobody killed
I shouldn't
anybody.
have let him shower first.
It's the dry air, It's like. But yeah, no, that was a good time.
All right, so let's see.
William, yeah.
Okay, yeah. William McKean says, I've heard you guys knock on Shenandoah a couple times. Personally, I thought it was a good episode. What's your issue with it?
I think part of it is it's like shorter than was standard at that point in time of our channel. Mm-hmm. And also like there's like a great majority or a large portion of that is us just like sitting in the same area with the same shot just talking. Mm-hmm. But I mean, maybe that's why some people liked it though.
Well, I'm going to refer back to the whole thing about how we have memories associated with it, whereas people who watch it have nothing associated with it. So,
yeah.
For us, a lot of the memories associated were kind of mediocre. We didn't get to have any fires. We spent that first night looking for
the other thing. Remember, we made a mistake. We went on the wrong trail.
Yeah, we went on the wrong trail. Yeah. We couldn't find any good campsites, and we didn't really get a chance to film that much. So the whole trip itself, like just the trip, not even the episode, but the trip just felt really like it felt like we wasted our time.
I will say, and I don't know if this is why we ended up not having a longer episode, but some of the shots we got were really good. Like cinematically, like there's some great shots of like slugs and like just like some of the walking shots are really beautiful.
Another thing I'll add, and this is my personal opinion, but at least the 2 times we've been to Shenandoah, I've never really been impressed by the views for the most part, because a lot of it is just heavily forested. You can't really see anything. Unlike something like Yosemite or Yellowstone, where you look in a direction, you just have this breathtaking view.
But see, when I think back to our first trip there, I still feel really fond about it because it was just like such a new experience.
Well, yeah, but that's...
But yeah, I want to go back to Shenandoah eventually and to like talk about that, because that kind of left a mark on me in the sense that like, yeah, it wasn't beautiful, but there was something deeper about it that really struck home with me.
There was someone did suggest if we go back to Shenandoah, and I would totally go back for this, but I haven't researched it. But apparently, there's like cabins you can rent.
Oh
and you
yeah,
can hike to those cabins.
That'd be
that
awesome.
would be awesome.
That'd be really cool.
Because not only would it be fun and a good trip, but it would also be really interesting to watch. I feel like.
Yeah.
So. Another Shenandoah maybe in our future. Mm-hmm. We don't know when though. All right, so
yeah, so I guess
start wrapping this up.
Yeah, so it's been about an hour. I think. Well, first you should check out the episode. July 4th weekend is coming up. Watch it. sign up on Patreon and watch it. But also
this is for all the people who
aren't
on Patreon, just when it's on YouTube.
I think it is like a really unique and different episode, but it's also like very familiar.
Yeah.
I think it's a good one. I think you're all gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm really glad with the positive reception so far. Mm-hmm. We all had our doubts on how it would turn out and if it would really feel like a good episode. But
and I do want to mention this is part 1 of 3 parts, and it's going to be a continuous journey, so it's going to be really cool watching this and then watching the others. But also in addition to that, for the 25 and up patrons, the postcards we're making, I'm going to design them in a way so that when you put them together side by side, it creates one bigger picture.
Now that you say that idea again, it sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah.
Because it's like the whole road trip connects together, so it would make sense to have like them connect.
Yeah.
Also,
it's gonna look cool. I haven't made them yet, but it will look cool.
I'm gonna add something here too. Whenever me and Andrew do another Patreon live stream, we've got a cool idea. We're gonna be playing some video games, but we're gonna have you guys.
Right.
We're gonna have you guys influencing what happens in those video games.
Yeah.
So like we'll let you choose the characters we play as or whatever level we have. So if you want to come and screw with our gaming, come check us out on our next stream.
It's the Patreon live stream. We do those every week.
We don't know
for people who don't know what we're talking about.
It'll probably be a few weeks from now.
But yeah, so really quickly, it's just.
And if you're on YouTube and you want to see the Patreon live streams, be sure to check it out.
Don says
you can sign up for $2, which is pretty much nothing.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it sounds strange. Don says it sounds strange, but I think that's like kind of the fun with these Patreon live streams, that we get to do things that are like a little different from the channel, more of a personal look into our lives. And but yeah, I think before
sounds strange. Well, to give you an example, like we'll play some Smash Brothers, which is a fighting game, and you can make us choose to use the worst characters in the game or whatever, and you'll see how bad we play.
So before we close out, let's do a quick like 2-minute reflection of the rest of the road trip and like your thoughts on that. So there was the Southwest, Zion, Albuquerque, Tucumcari, and the Deep
Antelope
South,
Canyon,
Oh,
Bayou, Plantation,
Texas,
honestly,
Nashville.
I really am like, for some reason the Plantation is really like sitting really well with me for some reason. I don't know why.
I think for me it's a similar thing with Vegas, where it was just like, one, it was a good place to like kind of calm down and recuperate, but it's just, I don't know, it was just such a cool house.
I think whenever we had a moment where we could kind of slow down and take things at our own pace, it kind of really stood out to me.
Also, the hot tub was awesome.
Yeah. Because this road trip had this weird time dilation effect where events felt simultaneously like they had happened so long ago, but not long, like literally just happened.
Exactly.
Like, because you would think about Vegas, you're like, oh man, Vegas, that was so long ago, so many things had happened.
But then you're like,
then you realize all those things that had happened was like just one day.
But it also, like, I remember at that point, I was like, Vegas does not feel that long ago, but it also does.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre how that happened. I think, that's what I love about these long, continuous journeys, whether it's backpacking or a road trip, is just like how everything ties together into one culmination. But
all right.
Yeah, so
thank you so much for joining us on this a bit of a different podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll do more of these things in the future, and we'll try to have the other guys too.
Yeah.
And we may do one on a fully live public stream on YouTube where we can get like everyone involved asking questions.
But thank you so much to our patrons who are watching live right now. Thank you so much to the people watching us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, thank you. Whether or not you're a patron, we really appreciate your support, your views, your comments. It's awesome.
Yeah, there's really, we can't say it enough, like how much we appreciate just the positive energy you send our way. So
And also, like, it really does make it worth it for us when we see other people enjoying what we're putting out. So thank you. Just if you're
need to throw any
let's do a quick end screen thing. Sign up on Patreon to watch the episode right now.
Sign up on Patreon right here.
And then subscribe to our channel somewhere here.
Right here.
And watch some of our other videos down in this area. So,
And also, if you
and like, comment, and subscribe.
If you want to get involved in these streams, you can check us out on Patreon. We do weekly streams on Patreon. But also you can check us out on Facebook, where oftentimes we'll post about events, or like you may get a few more details on Facebook.
Yeah, follow us on Facebook. That's a great place to keep up with stuff. And Instagram.
Yeah.
But.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone. Again, seriously, thank you guys so much. And have a good night.
One more last question.
Okay.
Willie McKean, when will the podcast be on the podcast feed?
Tomorrow, actually.
Well, it'll be on YouTube. It should be on YouTube tomorrow. And then if you
I'll do the feed
remember,
tomorrow.
you'll put it on the feed. Okay.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, everybody on YouTube.